Hey y'all, I'm Ali. Welcome to Little Hook Craft Company. Okay, so I promised you guys in our what did we make? Key fob video that we recently posted that I was going to show you guys how we make a wristlet. We currently sell these. We do craft shows and we have an Etsy shop, and Etsy does charge fees. So our Etsy, I think they're $1 more. I think they're 17 on Etsy and 16 when we do craft shows, just because Etsy has fees. So you need to put that into it. I have seen people sell these up to $45, you guys. To me, that is crazy because they're really not that hard to make and they don't have a lot of material involved in them. So somebody said on our first video, like, you're undercutting yourself by selling things for a lower price. I feel like if I sell more, I'm not. So you do you. That's what we always say on our channel. So today, let me bring this up closer and show you exactly what we're making. It's basically a square of fabric or rectangle. It has a little loop on the side that your key fob can hook to, which reminds me, I got to pull some of these out. It has a zipper. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then the inside, you can pick whatever complementary color, or you could do the same fabric if you want. And it's perfect for holding. Well, I'm recording with my cell phone, so I can't show you. I throw a little bit of cash in here. My cell phone fits in here with a couple cards, and then you can easily throw it on your wrist and walk around town with it. It's easy. Like when I was working, I would carry something like this, or if I'm running to like Costco really quick, I carry something like this versus my whole purse. And that's what we're gonna be making today. So let's get started, which reminds me, I got to pull the little loop out, but that's fine. I will do that in a second. I pre-cut the fabric to really kind of move this along, but you're going to need some batting. You can use cotton or polyester, your choice. I had some polyester left over from some projects, so that is what I typically use for these. I save my cotton for more kitchen stuff, but use what you have, you guys. You need a fabric for your outside. We have 2 rectangles of this, and a fabric for your inside. I have 2 rectangles of this. These are the same size. Let me measure one because I can't remember what I did. So what I typically do, I'm hoping you can see my whole cutting mat, is, well, let me just show you really quick. I'll just pick a fabric. Everybody loves this one. Is I take my fabric and I like put it out like this. This is on a fold. So there's a fold up at this top. I line it up and make sure my far edge is straight. And then this one, I have it written down too. I should measure things before I start talking, huh? This one is going to be 5.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches long. So 5.5, 8.5. So you need 2 pieces cut like that. So what I typically do is set this out, rip it on the 5.5 so that you have 1 long strip of fabric, and I make 2 wristlets every time I cut a strip. Usually it also leaves you a little bit of extra fabric at the end to do your little loop that your like keychain part's going to hook to. So I kind of try to pick complementary colors, but you can use whatever scrap you've got for that. So for mine, I picked this cute little, I call this one Country Blue. And then I thought it would go really cute with a pale blue gingham. This is hidden inside though, typically, so you don't really see it. And then I'll do the loop in gingham blue, so it kind of ties it all together. So that's what I've got. Here is our little pieces of fabric for that. I will put the measurements down below. The other thing you need is 1 piece. This is not 2, single piece. This is 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And this is going to become that little loop that sticks out the side of your purse. We already made our wristlet in our previous video. I will link that one below so you can go check it out. That's easy. The only other thing, and I will dig and grab it, is you need a little, what is this one called? Hook that slides onto here. So I found these ones really reasonable, of course, on Amazon, because that's what you do. And I just put it on the loop before I sew it together. Makes it super secure, and then it just hooks to your key fob. So that's what we're doing today. Okay, so to go over our materials one more time, just because I'm sounding like a lunatic here, just remember we're new to doing craft videos. So 1, we'd love suggestions of what you guys want to see. And 2, we're still getting used to the format. We have another channel we've had for almost 2 years, and we do cooking. And that's like a little bit different because sewing and, I mean, they're kind of the same because they're tutorials, but I got to figure out how to do this without my brain sounding totally scattered. So 2 pieces for your outside, 8.5 by 5.5. 2 pieces for your inside, 8.5 by 5.5. 1 piece to make your loop, 2.5 by 3.5. A zipper, this one I think is 12 or 14. Let me see. It's a 15-inch zipper. I buy 100 of these at a time on Amazon because it's really a whole lot cheaper. But if you go to Hobby Lobby, their zippers are 99 cents. And then you need your 2 pieces of batting. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to quilt our outside fabric to our batting. This makes some cute little lines to decorate it, to make it look held together. That way it's also washable. So I'm going to basically take whatever your outside fabric is. This is going to be the front and the back of your wristlet, the part you're going to see. And you're going to lay that on top of your batting. If you want to use really thick batting, go for it. We buy cotton batting like this. That's how much batting we use. This is the one that we really like. It's just a cotton batting. So you do you. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, let me go take you guys over the sewing machine and show you really quickly how we quilt on these. It's the same principle for bags. It's the same principle for Bible covers. It's the same principle for really anything that we do. I'm looking at what we sell really quick. So let me take you over and show you how we're going to quilt this. I'm working on my Juki today. This is a Juki TL2000. This is a semi-industrial machine. It is heavy, it runs really fast, and it can go through thick layers. It's great for quilting. Any machine, for the most part, could quilt what we're working on today. So I showed you guys this in a previous video. There's people that have laser lights, and so you can quilt on a straight line using a laser light. I don't see a reason to spend $40 on it when you can take a chopstick or anything straight, tape it to the front of your machine at whatever measurement you want, and quilt that way. So that's what I do. So I typically will do 2 to 3 inches, depending on what you think the look is. So I'm going to take, this is like a tailor's ruler. I'm going to take it and put the 2-inch at my needle. And then I'm going to take whatever you're going to use as your straight stick and line it up with the edge. So that shows me about what 2 inches is going to look like. And then I'm going to pop a piece of tape on there. This is super frugal. And you guys, we run a pretty successful craft company. And this is what we do. Y'all, if you save money on tools, it's more money in your pocket. That's all I have to say. And then I'm going to stop saying that's all I have to say because I do have things to say. So I'm measuring, it's a 2-inch gap. So basically what you're going to do is use this as a guide. So I'm going to grab my first piece of fabric. So I have my piece of fabric and it has the batting right behind it and it's lined up. It doesn't, you can have a little overlap, we'll trim it. What I'm doing is I'm going to sew straight lines. I like to quilt at about a 2.5 or 2.6 inch, nope, 2.6 on my stitch length. Somebody was asking I'll show you guys in another video, kind of like the basics of some of our machines, how to thread them and some stuff like that. It's hard because every machine is a little bit different, but for today, I'm using my Juki. This one, you can raise the foot up for quilting or regular sewing. Mine is on a quilt, but you can honestly do it on a regular too for this thickness. It's not that big a deal. So I'm going to line up the edge of my fabric with that piece that we taped so that my first line is at 2 inches. I'm going to drop my foot down all the way at the end of our fabric, and I'm going to follow this all the way down in a straight stitch. Just go for it. When you get to the end, you're going to cut your thread and then move it over. So next, I'm going to use this guide where we just sewed and line it up on that line, and then drop my foot, same place as we did before, at the very edge of the fabric, and then you're going to use this little guide to follow that stitch that you did the first time. So we're going to do that again and again until you reach the edge of your fabric. Let's see, do we need one more? We'll throw one more on there. If you guys want to go make diamond patterns, you could do that. If you want to put it at 1 inch, you can do that. It really depends on what you want the overall look to be. But you can see our quilt lines are now on there. So I'm going to grab my second piece and go to town on that one now. We are now done. I'm going to take you over and we're going to trim these up. I have no idea if you can even see me in the camera because I have to face it backwards. Otherwise, I feel like I'm staring at myself and it weirds me out. So we have our 2 pieces completed. Now we need to trim off that extra batting that's now hanging out. So we use, and one of you guys told me to put a handle on this. I am looking into that. I got to run to Harbor Freight to do that. But I basically line my ruler up with the edge of my fabric so that I'm just trimming off the batting only. You don't want to cut your fabric. So now we just have little bits of that we're taking off. That side's fine. And it just keeps it nice and clean as we're putting our zippers on and doing everything we got to do here. I'm trying to make this not the longest video in the world. So if you have any questions, if I skip something and you're like, wait, what were you talking about? Comment below. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And I also respond to emails. So if you really need more help than what the comments can give you, shoot me an email. Little Hill, because we live on a little hill, that's why it's called that, craftco@gmail. All right, so now that's cleaned up. You can also check out our Etsy shop. We do have these listed there, so if you want to see what the final products look like, we do have some photos for you. And that's just littlehillhomestead.etsy.com, which I'll link below. So now we're all trimmed up. I need a new mat. This one has like too many grooves and so things stick to it. So we have our 2 pieces. The next thing we're going to do is attach our zipper. So if you guys saw our Bible sleeve, I do need to do that part too. You know what? Let's go do this really quick. I'm going to show you guys how we make our loop. Let's go over to the iron. Okay, it is nighttime, so I'm hoping that you can see this decently well. But let me zoom you in. Hold on. Let me see if I can do that. That'll be helpful. Plus, you get to see my dirty ironing board cover. So this is our piece. It's 3.5 inches long, 2.5 inches wide. You are going to put it so the 3.5 inches runs this way. And the 2.5 is what you're going to fold. So you're going to fold it in half one time, getting that edge to the other edge. So it's exactly in half. And you're going to hit it with your iron. Then we're going to open it up. This is just like when you made the wristlet the other day. You're going to fold that top piece to the middle line that you just created. This is like literally, this is just a mini wristlet. That's what we're building. Okay, and then iron that, and then do the same thing with your bottom. Fold it to the top. Well, the halfway top, not the top, halfway. And hit it with your iron. Okay, so you can now see it's like a gum wrapper. Essentially, we have 2 pieces that are folded in, and then it's folded in half. And then we're going to take that and iron the whole thing one time to get it to hold. I need some water in my iron. Actually, I need to clean my iron. But so now we have our loop. I'm going to take you over to the sewing machine, and all we're going to do is run a stitch on one edge of this to secure it. The side where our 2, like the open side, that's the side we're going to be sewing. I'm just going to put my foot down, and I just line it up with the edge of my foot. If you have a really wide foot, because Juki's and a few other industrial machines have a really narrow foot, we just scoot it right on the inside of your foot. All I'm going to do is sew from one end to the other. And that's it. We have our loop. How easy was that? It's just like when we make our key fob, right? So all you're going to do is fold it in half, put the hardware on it, and you have your loop that's going to be in your wristlet. So now back to the cutting table. So for our zipper, we have our piece. And you're going to put the pattern side facing up towards you. Then we are going to, here's our loop, by the way. This is the hardware we use for it, and all I'm going to do is slide it on there, slide it through there, and then fold this in half. And that becomes what our wristlet is going to secure to our key fob. So don't forget to put that on. I've done it before. So here's our zipper. Okay, these are the zippers that I use. I just get them on Amazon, like I said. And what you are going to do is turn it so that this zipper is face down towards your fabric. So right now you can't use the zipper because it's face down. You're going to line it up with the edge of your fabric right up here. And then we are going to take one of our pieces of our back or inside, and we're going to line that up with this far edge as well as the top of our zipper. So your zipper is going to be hidden except for the ends now. And our fabrics are sitting right at the top edge of it. I'm going to grab a couple little clips just to secure it to get it over the sewing machine, and I'm going to clip these. I've said this in one of my other videos. So this is a brand name clip. I can't remember what these are actually called. Hold on, let me grab one of these ones. So there's brand name ones. Where is it? There's brand name ones that are these ones. And I do really, really like these, but they're like 10 for like $15 or something ridiculous. So I bought the Amazon knockoff. You literally get like 100 for like less money. So I use these. They do break more often than these, but they work pretty much just as well. I still like the other ones a little bit better, but for the price, I can't justify it. Okay, we're going to be taking this now that we have our zipper secured. So you can see you've got your fuzzy side that we quilted, your inside, and your zipper is hidden in the middle. We're going to take this over to the sewing machine and run one stitch to secure that zipper. So if you have a zipper foot, you can use it. I do not, because these industrial machines have a narrow enough foot that you can sew a zipper without a zipper foot. I hate using zipper foots. I explained this in my last video. I just feel like I can't sew the zipper right when I use them. So basically what you're going to do is take your foot and you're going to drop it right where here's the zipper middle, the metal or the teeth. They're probably plastic actually. And when you put your foot down, it kind of naturally wants to sit next to the zipper. If you can see, it's kind of peaked up now. And we're going to do a back stitch and sew all the way down following that line. Like that. Now take your clip off and follow down the line. You can kind of almost turn your fabric at an angle and it's going to naturally stay as the zipper is going to be a bumper basically. You can kind of see it peeking right there. Let me move the second clip and continue to follow it down the line. When you get to the end, you're going to do a back stitch. That just really secures it. Now cut your thread and let's see if we got it all. I like to open it to verify if I caught the zipper all the way. So that piece caught all the way, so we're good. And this one also caught all the way. So now I'm going to go iron this opened so that we can sew our other side on. So let's go to the iron. It's a lot of walking. This is why when I do these, I do like 25 at a time. So I can sit here and do all my zippers, then go to the iron and iron them all, then go trim them all. It's a whole thing. It's a train. Okay, let's iron. So like I said, you just basically, the way that we had it was like this. You're going to open those up to expose the zipper and fold them back on themselves so that your zipper is now sticking out. All I do is push this fabric that way and iron it so that it's open as far as you can get it. Just run your iron down that. And that will keep it from getting pinched in the zipper. That's hard to say. Oops. Hold on, So polyester fabric or polyester batting, sorry, not fabric, will melt under heat just a little bit. So it kind of gets not tacky, but it'll stick to the fabric kind of. So I'm, again, just running my iron down that to open it up. Okay. And now that it is opened, see, oops, let me hit this side one more time. We're going to take it over the machine and we're going to do a stitch right here along this line. So this stays open and out of the way of the zipper. Back to the sewing machine. Back at my machine, I have my outside facing up. And all I'm going to do is figure out kind of where you think this naturally looks nice. To me, I line up our outside fabric with the edge of my zipper. Nope, foot, my foot. This is a foot, this is a zipper. So that when this side of my foot is sewing along, it's separating the fabric from the zipper. I'm going to drop it, and then I'm going to do one line all the way. I do like to double stitch this one just to secure it. And then you're just going to follow the edge of your foot all the way down. Little back stitch. And now all that does is, one, it makes a nice, beautiful, clean line. And two, it keeps your fabric from getting stuck in the zipper, because it's like the sleeping bags when you were a kid. Once you get that zipper stuck with fabric in it, you're never going to get your phone out of here. So this really helps prevent that from happening. Okay, I'm going to take this over and I'm going to do the second side now so that we have both sides of our purse or wristlet ready to put together. Well, I moved my camera and this whole second half, it didn't film. Like I said, I'm still getting used to this. So let me show you really quick. Well, I don't need to show you. Basically, you did it the exact same way that you did the first side. You put this print face up. You lay the zipper with half of your purse attached to it on top of it, face down. You added your inside material on top. We clipped it, sewed one line down the side to secure that zipper, opened it up and ironed it, and then ran a stitch on the other side. So let me bring you in so you can see the stitches I'm talking about. So I don't know if you can see them in this light, but you can see like a stitch right here and a stitch right there. That might help a little bit right there. So our zipper is now secured. Now it's going to fold and show you. But our zipper is secured. The quilting is done. Now it's time to actually put the bag together. But if you have any questions, just message me or comment below. But it's just the same step repeated, you guys. Okay, so now we have our bag. For the most part, you know what it's going to look like. There you guys go, right? So the next step of this is, it is time to put the whole thing together. Step one, and this is like super important, open your zipper or you're never going to be able to do this properly because you're going to have a zipper in the way and then you can't do what you need to do. Don't open it all the way. I would do about 3/4 of the way because when you sew this, you don't want to run over your zipper. That ruins a lot of machines. So I'm doing mine, I don't know, how far is that? Let's see. About 6.5 inches opened. So you have, a couple inches down here that are still secured. You are going to take your fronts and backs that we just secured beautifully and take them apart. Just make sure they're loose and ready because like I was saying, this kind of sticks to this fabric. We're going to take our rotary tool. You can use scissors if you prefer. And we're going to trim our zipper off. I don't leave much, maybe 1/4 inch is what I leave on the bag. So I just run it over and you can see I leave about that much. Is that a 1/2 inch? Just under a 1/2 inch, between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. Don't run over your fabric. Ask me how I know. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. And now our zipper is trimmed. Ta-da. You're going to take your two, whatever your faces are, and you're going to put them together. And then you're going to take your two insides and put them together. See what I'm saying here? Then I lay it down just so I have some control over it. We're going to try to, you need some clips or pins for this. So on the zipper, you want your zipper excess basically to face the inside of the bag when you clip it. So how would I describe this? Let me bring it in, I'll show you. So see all this extra that it's going to have? You want the V that we're creating, this V, to point down. And then you're going to clip it. And all this excess is going to be inside the bag when we go to make it. I hope that makes sense. And the same thing on the other side of the bag. You want the V, when we clip it to pin it, to face down towards the inside of your bag. It just makes it cleaner. Again, if you have questions, just comment. So all I do is really quickly line up my two insides to make sure the top of your bag is even. Line those up really nicely and then put all that excess zipper face down. And I put a little clip right there. Just hold it. Same thing on this side. Like I was saying, you want that V, all the excess fabric to face, so basically the bottom of your V, if this is a V, the zipper and all the extras are going to face into your inside of your bag. And then we're going to put a clip right there as well. It just keeps it all held together while we take it to the sewing machine. I like to clip the top of my bag around this whole part, but you got to add your little wristlet part. So for this part, I take it and I fold it in half. So it creates our little loop. And I like to put it so that when the zipper is closed, it's on the same side as where the zipper pull would sit. So if your zipper is closed, your zipper part and the wristlet part, the little part we're adding, end up on the same side. So it's the opposite side of where it is currently opened, if that makes any sense. So right now our zipper is on this side because it's open, so I'm going to put the wristlet loop on that side. All I'm going to do that is, I don't have an exact place that I like to do it. I kind of just like to guess. But I put it in there. Make sure I'm lined up at the edge. Let me bring you closer. I'm having a difficult time telling you guys how to do this right now. If this is the inside of your bag, I open it up. I stick it out a little bit so you can see like it's sticking out of the bag once we sew it, because you're basically hiding it right now. And I do it at a slight angle so that when the wristlet is finalized, it sits so it faces up slightly. Let me show you that. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Let me bring you in. That might be easier. Let me open my wristlet up a little bit to show you what I mean. I'll take my clip off. So, whoops. I basically take this loop and I'm going to put it on the far edge and put it in an angle like that. But you want some of this to stick out so that when we catch it, when we sew it, it's secured. And that's going to peek out on the outside of our bag once it is done. So now I'm going to close this back up, line my seams up, which is basically the top above the zipper, and then pin this on there so that it holds it all in place. Wow, that was painful, wasn't it? Okay, there. Yikes. So now I like to take a couple clips and just kind of clip around the whole bag to make sure that it's holding while we take it over to the machine. Like I said, I will get better at this, you guys. Okay, one thing I want to say though is I always leave a gap right here of about 3 to 4 inches, because that's where we're going to turn our bag, because right now it's inside out, right? We have to turn it to make it the right way. So leave a gap there, and I'll show you when we go to the sewing machine what I mean by that. But just make sure your corners are lined up nicely, that your bag is lined up, so your face and your back, everybody's happy and making sense over here. Sometimes I'm an overpinner and sometimes I don't pin at all. I'm like literally like I run with scissors, but there you guys go. So we have clips all the way around, and we're going to take it over the sewing machine. Don't forget, my little hidden doodad is right here, my loop. Okay, hope that makes sense. Put it at the angle with your clasp that holds it facing up towards your zipper. That was the biggest thing that I had to say there. Okay, let's go to the sewing machine before she hurts herself. There's a reason that I film tutorials usually in the morning, but my son was in here this morning and he gets loud when he games. So I waited until nighttime to film this, and sometimes by nighttime my brain is done. So there you guys go. So we're going to start with the fabric that would be the inside of your bag, the hidden fabric, and we are going to leave that gap. So I'm going to drop my needle close to this clip. I'm going to run this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, which I forgot to set up. I have to measure it because my machine is like from another country, and so it doesn't just tell me a 1/2 inch. So I use these magnetic little guides. They're really inexpensive on Amazon, and they really are helpful. So all I do is bump my fabric up against that, and then I know that I'm a 1/2 inch. You can do slightly under that, which is what I'm going to do as well. So drop your needle, and I'm going to move that first clip just so it's out of my way. We're going to back stitch, and that's going to hold it so when we flip the bag, it doesn't tear your stitches. So go forward and backwards, and then you're just going to continue on all the way around. If you guys saw our last video, you leave the needle down, pick your foot up, turn it like a pivot, I know, it's from Friends. Drop your foot back down, and then go down this edge. So this is how you're securing your whole bag together to make it one piece. So I'm getting to where my zipper and my little key fob tag are. I'm going to remove this, but kind of hold this in place, and I can feel the hardware up in here, and I'm just making sure that my needle doesn't hit your hardware for that. And then when we get to the other side, you're going to make sure it doesn't hit your zipper. So go slow while you go over the zipper. just to make sure it doesn't hit any of those teeth or do anything funky. Because sometimes, especially if you have metal zippers, it will, it can hit them. So I made it over my zipper, and now I'm going through my wristlet tag. And what I like to do is backstitch over that to really keep it in place so that if somebody has something heavy in here, it's not going to rip right out. Then continue on all the way down to your corner, removing your clips as you go. Get down to the corner, leave your needle down, and turn. Yep, I need to go one more stitch. All right, now pivot and continue on. And you'll learn, if you need to, you can use one of these tailor measures to figure out, well, that's metric, so that's not going to work. But if you hold the inch mark over here next to where your needle is, you can stop your fabric so you know exactly where you should turn your needle. And then continue on. Okay, again, I'm getting to where my zipper was. I hold my kind of fingers in place over that to make sure my zipper doesn't untuck from the way we want it to go. And then my zipper's way over here, so I'm not worried about running over it. And then just go slow over your zipper. Okay, now I'm on the other side. I'm just going to continue on and try to get it back close to my 1/2 inch mark. I kind of went off the mark there. All right, make sure your fabric isn't folded or anything. Continue on. Some people double stitch over the zipper to make sure it really holds it. I don't find you need that, but if you feel like you want to, go for it. Same thing, leave your needle down, pivot, and turn. But don't forget, we're going to stop over here to leave that opening. So I'm going to remove my clip, but I'm going to remind myself, stop. Okay, we're going to go to about right there. Like I said, it's about 3 inches, and then I'm going to back stitch. Okay. Cut your thread, lift your foot, and it's ready to turn, you guys. Let's go to the table, and I'll show you how to trim this up to turn it. So when we turn this is pretty bulky, and you want your corners to be clean. So I take my rotary tool, and don't cut your stitch off that you just did. Just cut the bulk fabric at an angle, and it just removes a little extra to make it so that it's clean when we turn it. I don't worry about it on this edge because it doesn't have a lot of bulk to it. You do need a tool for this. I use a ceramics tool. You can use what's called a corner pusher or use a chopstick. Just be careful, you don't want to stab it through the fabric, so don't pick something too sharp. So I'm going to go to where we left our little hole, and I'm going to reach my finger through and try to grab all the way at this edge on one of the corners with my fingers. So I kind of pinch it. You can see these are my 2 fingers right here. I kind of pinch it to hold it, and then pull your finger through and grab that fabric that you just grabbed with those fingers. Pull it through like a sock and turn it right side out. Keep pushing and pushing until it all goes. So my whole thing is now the right way. I'm going to reach my finger in. I'm going to gently push out the corners as best I can using just my finger. There's one here, one up here where our zipper is. And the zipper one, you kind of have to like guide to get the zipper to pop out and not be a weird angle. Then do the same thing with the other side. Push it as much as you can with your finger. And then up here where your zipper is, there's not going to be anything on this side because there's nothing to hold it right there yet, but your little loop is out. So we're good. So I'm going to make sure my zipper is open all the way and pull this part. I just leave it out for now because we still have to sew it shut. Take your corner pusher, and all we're going to do is push this corner right here out and this corner right here out to make sure it's nice and solid and not rounded. Like I said, don't push too hard and don't use anything too sharp because it will stab through the fabric. But it just does a little bit to make it nice and clean. Okay. Are you seeing it come together now, guys? Isn't it exciting when you flip it and then you're like, oh, it looks like a bag. Okay. So the next thing I need to do is we left that gap here. We need to sew that shut. That is simple because the way that it naturally wants to go, I just make sure these are out, is this already is folded under. If you feel like you want to iron it to hold it in place, you can. I'm just going to pop a clip on it really quick just to hold it under, and then I'm going to go sew that shut really quick. So I'm basically just going to sew from here to here where it was left open. If you want to go the whole stretch of it, you can. It's up to you. Y'all, we are in the home stretch. Can you believe this? I'm going to move my guide because this is not going to be half an inch. All I'm going to do is kind of, I mean, you can see how much fabric you tucked in to make the fold, and you just want to make sure you're catching all that. So don't go too far like this way because obviously it's not going to catch. So go as close as you can to the edge. Drop your foot, make sure you're at the edge of where you sewed before. You can kind of see little loops sticking out. Do a back stitch. And then follow it all the way down, making sure that it stays tucked in. When you get to the end where you know you have already sewn, go back. And then cut it. So we sewed from here to here, and it closed that hole up that we had. Now what I'm going to do is take some little snippers. I really like these ones. These are my favorite. They're the Fiskars brand. They're the best snippers that we have. We have a bunch of pair, and we fight over these ones. So, all right, let me cut a couple more little threads. And then all you do is tuck this inside your bag. I push it down into the corners down here to make sure that they're lined up with the corners you already had. You guys, there's your bag. If you want to round this out anymore up here where the zipper was, you can just continue to push it with your finger and it'll round out. But that's it, you guys. Let me take it over the iron. I like to tap it with an iron because I feel like it makes it look finished. So let's go do that, and then we'll put it all together. And like I said, I just like to iron it so that it looks finished. It's not a necessary step. I just do it. So I hit it with an iron on the whole thing, and I flip it and hit the iron on that whole thing. And it kind of just squares it up and makes it look clean and complete. Like, see what I mean? It just looks nice. Let's go over and I'm going to show you once we put our wristlet on what this actually looks like. Or our key fob. Key fob, not wristlet. Let me turn my iron off so I don't forget. Boom. Let's go to the cutting table. Okay, you guys, our wristlet is finished. I wanted to show you, if you unzip it, you see that beautiful blue plaid fabric inside of it. But when you close it, it's kind of tucked. That's why I picked the plaid to be our little wristlet loop. Like I said, we sewed this on here. If you don't want to get a bunch of these from Amazon, you can get, they sell a 2-pack at Hobby Lobby. They are larger though. So that's why I get the ones from Amazon. I will link them below. This is the key fob we made in a previous video. I will also link that video below. I keep saying that. Link below, link below. All you're going to do is take the loop on the key ring and hook it onto your wristlet, and your wristlet is now finished. That is the full project, you guys. So just remember, like, this video may seem kind of long, but I was walking you through every single possible step of this thing, except for the part I forgot to record. But just make sure there's no threads on it, and this is ready to go, you guys. If you want to sew a label on it, which, by the way, I think is going to be our next video. I had to order materials because I ran out of some of the stuff for it. But if you want to sew a label on it, you can do it at the final end, or you can do it right after you quilted it before you attach your zipper. I find that sometimes it ends up being crooked if I do it that way, so I prefer to do it here if I'm going to add a label. But if I was going to add a label, like I was saying, these are the labels that we use. They are an iron-on transfer on a piece of ribbon. And I just take them, and depending on where you want them to go, pin it, sew down each side, and you have a cute little branded label. So you know this is a Little Hill wristlet, which is awesome. So that's that. I will show you that in a future video. But here's your guys' wristlet. Like I said, we sell these for $16 at craft shows, $17 on Etsy, and people sell them for a whole lot more. The other thing you can do is on the inside, before you sew this whole thing together and you just have your piece of blue plaid fabric, you can sew pockets onto it if you wanted to make little credit card slots and all kinds of stuff like that. I haven't ventured that far into it yet just because I want a simple wristlet, and so I just kind of throw stuff in here. But there you guys go. It can be thrown in the washing machine. I don't wash this part. I just wash this part. And if somebody wants to swap this out and have like a blue plaid or wants to do pink plaid or whatever they want, we have extras at all of our shows that we just throw out for that purpose. So that's what our wristlets look like. And if you guys have a larger cell phone or want to go smaller, I don't think I have one over there anymore. No, I've done some really small ones that literally just hold a credit card and no phone. You can go smaller, just adjust your beginning measurements instead of 8.5 by 5.5 to whatever works for your cell phone. Don't forget to add your seam allowance, which is 1/2 inch on each side. So you want to up it a little bit, but there you guys go. Hope you appreciated our tutorial. And what's coming up? I think I'm going to be showing you guys how the labels I think are next. Honestly, I think that will be next because we have a ton of people who have asked about those. So there you guys go. Don't forget, we will get better as this goes, but I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for the ride. Yeah, there you guys go. Anyways, links are below to everything. If I forget anything, just say, hey lady, you forgot something, and I will remember to link it once you remind me. Thanks guys.